My name is Sarah Gray. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and I've lived in Chicago since 2006. I have a background in theater directing, and from theater directing I was really interested in experimental performance, and so I did a lot of work with sort of more installation type experimental performance, which led me into technology. And I work as a software engineer and as an artist, and I focus on sort of using technology in my work. So I've been here at Laboratory for 2 months, since October 1st, and I built a project called Minimum Viable Cat. And I worked on an earlier iteration of this project this year. I've been really interested in the commodification of nourishment in the tech space, like how people use Soylent instead of food, and sort of people outsource basic tasks like laundry and look to other services and devices to sort of take care of you. And especially interested in sort of how we relate to our intimate devices. So this project is about the intersection between technology and devices in our lives and cats. I am a cat lover, but that's not why cats. I have a joke, or I say to myself, like, cats invented us so that we could invent the internet, so that we could put videos of cats on the internet. I think it's really interesting, like, how, I don't even know what to say, like how much, like, cats are really interesting because they're companions and we love them and we do things for them and we like really admire them, and yet they're very aloof from us and don't always give us what we want, and yet we have like this whole culture and this whole like set of memes and whole like everything like around cats. And like your device, sometimes the whole purpose of it is like send you cat pictures or put cat ears on your heads or whiskers. Like, so there's a sort of weird synergy between like these comforting or semi-comforting companions that we have and admire, and then the way that we use our devices and technology. And I just thought it was really interesting of like, especially I noticed with myself, with my iPhone, like I'm always stroking it and I always want it near me. And it's a very like, where is it? Like, it's almost a maternal thing. Like, where is it? It has to be here, like a companion. And this motion of stroking. I think it's interesting. Like, we have all of this technology, but what we're doing, if you just look around, what we're doing is like we're stroking things. So like as people, we're like walking around petting things, and we're petting things that are like metal and glass, and like it's just really interesting because it's a nonverbal behavior, and we're just constantly like, where's my little thing to pet? Where's my little thing to pet? Where's my little thing to pet? And I just like find that really interesting. And of course, a cat is a little thing that you can pet. And I also just find a cat is also very mysterious, like imperturbable, right? Like a cat, I think of this object as a cross between the monolith in 2001, an iPhone, and a cat's stomach. Because it's like a cat just is there. It's there. It sits there. It has weight and heft and density, and you love it and try to interact with it. And it has this sort of like mysterious quality, like very much like these aspirational devices that are such a part of our lives. So it's like, how do you put those two things together? So it's simple in that it's just a device that purrs when you pet it. And one of the things I was thinking about, so when you're not interacting with it, it blinks like a little red notification light to indicate that it wants to be pet. And then when you stroke it or put your hand on it, it just purrs. And that's it. I was thinking a lot about smart devices and how almost is really smart what we need in devices. Like, it's great, but it also has led us to so many debacles, right? Like, look at these smart devices and data collection, mining, and things that happen with Facebook and Cambridge Analytica and all of that. And I think it's sort of interesting to think about, like, what if it's just enough to be comforting and not trying to be smart? And so it's very simple in terms of like what it does. It waits and it like pet me just by its light, and then you pet it. And I like that it's, like for me, I like petting a cat, and I find it kind of interesting that I enjoy, like I really just enjoy. I get a sense of soothingness from it, and it's something I put my hand here. I love technology. I'm a software developer, and I've worked in technology professionally for like since 2001. It's an odd space. I mean, it's amazing because you can make so many things, and you can like really like create and think and make things. But it's also a very like the world of tech startups and entrepreneurs and these aspirational products in Silicon Valley is just really kind of bleak and very like it's super like sexist and patriarchal and very like we're gonna crush it and we're gonna like very like sports game ritual, like it's a weird world, and it's a weird world to watch how like the Soylent thing, you know, for example, like it's that food might be super healthy and good for you, but it's just very weird to watch this whole subculture of programmers sort of outsource nourishment and be like, we're drinking Soylent. And so I find the culture around tech like, huh? That's technology is something I love, but the current culture around tech startups and tech products is a little bit skewed towards. I don't think people think about it very much. Like it's. Sometimes I think that like Facebook is like the Cylon number 6 from Battlestar Galactica, like a shiny, beautiful thing that you all want to interact with, but really just collecting your data and just kind of screwing you over. And I think there's a lot of like weird, unthought out things in the tech industry that I thought about when making this work. I learned a lot. I mean, I had no idea how to make a physical object. Like I really had no idea how to make a physical object, and I was terrified. Like, how do you make a box? Literally, how do you make a box? And so I learned a tremendous amount about like making boxes, and this is aluminum. And you know, I worked with a metal shop in Spokane, and I worked with a welder in Spokane, and the maker space. I learned how to use tools. I learned how to powder coat. I didn't even know powder coating was a thing. I mean, so much about the physical world. Like I came in just like, I want to make an object. Like I had 2 projects when I came in my mind, and one was something else and one was make an object. And this one scared me because I was like, I don't know how to do it, but I also wanted to do it. So I'd say that. And the focus, a lot of the time this was my like very aesthetically focused. Like how do you make something as small and minimal and nice looking as possible? And I think in general, I tend to have a more loosey-goose aesthetic. And it was really interesting, like, no, I want to be very particular, and I want to be very, like, it has to be these 3 colors, and the chords have to look neat, and the letters are like this, and how do you do that? How do you actually make that happen? And the biggest thing I was thinking today after I did my presentation was like, these objects are very simple. They're really hard to make, but a lot of it was like the context and storytelling around it. Like, how was I going to make these objects and then situate them in a context that was, this is a critique on the tech industry, but also like thoughtful on, like it had a lot of ideas in black, white, and rose gold. Yeah. Okay, so minimum viable cat. Do you want to read it or just? Sure. So minimum viable cat. Enjoy intimate moments gazing into your cat's eye. Never sleep alone again. Your cat will be safe from natural disasters. Always the center of attention, just like your real cat used to be. Still want to play? Make up your own games. Jump, cat, jump. never gets hyperthyroid disease. Grief and death, so last year. And spend all of your time and money on yourself. And then order now at minimumviable.cat. So my website is, my work website is factory.fabled.net, and I'm also on Instagram and Twitter as FabledNet.